Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. I'm so happy you're here. My name is Hannah and on my channel I post a ton of anti-MLM content. I'll link a playlist here and down in the description box. This is my big anti-MLM playlist. There's almost 80 videos on it, very bingeable. And if any of that kind of content does sound interesting to you, I would love it if you would consider subscribing, consider liking this video. All those kinds of things really help to support my channel and I appreciate you so much for doing that. For today's video, I'm bringing you another MLM horror stories. These are your own personal experiences that you have written out, sent to me, and given me permission to read for a video. If at any point you feel like you want to send your story to me, the instructions for how to do that are in the description box. It's very easy. You just send me an email. I have a pretty good sized collection going in my email currently. I have pulled 5 stories from that collection. I have not pre-read any of them, so let's get into it. This story says, "Hi Hannah, thanks for creating such easy to share content. Your videos are the perfect balance of truthful and compassionate and make it so easy to share with those who need to hear the truth. Please keep me anonymous." My story started with an MLM that I don't hear addressed much, Beauty Counter. I had a friend who I viewed as a mentor, and one day she offered me a sample of their skincare, telling me how rare it was to find clean and non-toxic skincare. I had not seen the prices online as they weren't included in the advertising and thought they must be a little pricey, but of course I didn't want to be putting toxic things on my skin, so I took the sample and used it for a week. They were really nice products and they made my skin feel amazing, so I reached out to her to see how I could order the full sizes. She told me that there was so much this company had to offer, and if I liked these items that I should meet her for coffee to see the whole line. I bet you can see where this is going, but I sure didn't at the time. Yeah, come to this coffee shop so I can show you the whole line, aka so I can trap you and I can pitch you the business opportunity and I can make more money. We met at a coffee shop, and as soon as I saw the large backpack she had with her, I had some orange flags go up in my mind. Not red ones, but preliminary icky feelings that I should have listened to. I like this idea of an orange flag. It's not quite a red flag, but it's like, I should be paying attention to this. She pulled out an entire line of skincare products from her Mary Poppins bag and set them on the table. What was interesting is that right when I expected to be sold a product, the conversation then turned to political activism. She started talking about how unregulated the beauty industry is and how many toxic and cancerous ingredients are in the drugstore and even high-end items. She asked me what products I currently used and then proceeded to look them up on an app on her phone to show me how many chemicals were in each of my products. The app gave each product a score based on how many toxic ingredients they contained. She wrote down the score of each item and showed me my toxic total and pulled out a list of the Beauty Counter products and their toxic total. My toxic total was 36 and the total for the products she was showing me was 1. This is pulling out like a tiny nugget of information that is like deep in the recesses of my brain. I have heard about this app before. If anyone knows the name of this app, please tell me in the comments. I don't know if this is an app created by Beauty Counter, but I definitely feel like MLM companies use this app a lot to fearmonger and to greenwash and to make you think that what you're using is terrible and the only alternative is the MLM products. And this is always an interesting argument to me because people in MLMs will always say like chemicals are terrible and this is a chemical-free product or it's non-toxic or whatever. But do you understand that like everything in a beauty product is a chemical and they all work together in a very specific way to perform the results they claim to perform? And if you truly had a chemical-free product, it would expire, it would go bad, it would mold. And to a certain extent, I think you could make a pretty solid argument that having chemicals in a product actually make it somewhat safer to use than if it didn't have any chemicals. Did you know that water is a chemical? Salt is a chemical? And those are things that you would never inherently think, oh, those are bad, those are toxic. Water is toxic because it's a chemical. But on the other hand, arsenic is a chemical, but it's also natural. So I just think all this language around toxic, natural, chemicals, it's all relative. And I'm pretty sure that this app is complete BS. Every time I thought she would try and sell me something, she just went right back into the activism conversation. She showed me videos of how Beauty Counter is activating for safety in products and actually marching in Washington once a year to advocate for stricter regulations in the beauty industry. I now realize she was selling me the cause first to try and further solidify my commitment to the brand and their mission. The sell was to get me mentally attached to the idea of this being a noble cause. Of course, she told me the best way to fight this fight and make a difference is to join the company and sell these products myself and spread the word to others about how they can join the movement too. Sneaky. I'm sad to say it, but I bought into it. I joined and began posting posting all the cringy things and messaging my friends and family. It never felt right, and I always felt a little torn because while I loved spreading awareness of keeping big companies accountable, I didn't love the recruiting push. I realize now that this company sells you on a mission that feels right in order to make you do wrong. Slimy. Wow. We need that on a t-shirt. Sells you on a mission that feels right in order to make you do wrong. How beautifully written is that? I was instructed to tell people that it was okay if they couldn't spend the money to buy the complete skincare set or makeup set. They could just replace one bad item they had with a good beauty counter one every month. Just one product a month isn't too bad. Keep in mind these products are pricey, like $80 for one bottle of face oil, and it may have gone up by now. So one purchase a month is still a lot of money. Plus, I now realize it was a great way to keep the monthly purchases coming by saying they can just buy one a month. It really meant be my loyal customer for the rest of your life and pay me monthly. One of the sneakiest ways of recruiting was they organized a March 4th party every year, telling all reps to do the same and throw parties at their houses. The idea was to invite friends to come over and learn about the safe products, and as a group, we would text our representatives for better beauty standards. People thought they were coming to a political activism gathering and instead were sold products, and all of their phone numbers from texting were collected for future use. So sneaky. Wow, this is so manipulative in like a way that I really haven't heard of before. Like fear-mongering and greenwashing and playing into political activism, all to get people to buy products from a pyramid scheme. Unreal. I ended up seeing the light when I was pushed to recruit my friend that I had told my upline I didn't want to. She was really struggling financially and I just couldn't do it. They harassed me in all of the nice and passive-aggressive ways to do it, and I realized that if it truly wasn't about recruiting, then they wouldn't care so much about snagging this poor girl. I left quietly and never looked back. What an enormous freedom it has been not having an upline hover over and try to dictate my very soul and all my relationships for their own financial gain. I never made any money but lost a lot of trust with my friends and family. Totally not worth it. I don't know why this company isn't talked about much, but they are an easy one to fall prey to. Between the social activism and fear-mongering, it's tough to walk away. Thanks for reading my story. I'm glad to be out, but also glad people like you are sharing this message in such a loving way. I agree that Beauty Counter really isn't talked about that much. I would love to do a deep dive video on this company in the future, but honestly, I don't think anyone has ever sent me anything about Beauty Counter before. And I don't know if that's because their reps aren't super active on social media in the ways that reps from other companies are, or maybe it does have something to do with like this social activism, political activism, manipulation tactic that people are kind of like, well, Beauty Counter's a little bit better because of this. They're not as bad because they have a good mission kind of thing. But this story has definitely inspired me to do a little bit more digging on this company. I think that's very fascinating. Thank you for sending in this story. This story says, "Hi Hannah, I'm a new subscriber to your channel and I love your content. This might be a long email, so I hope you don't mind, but I'll try to keep it short and sweet. So basically, my mom has been sucked into Primerica for 13 years. She joined in 2009 after my oldest sister passed away from bone cancer at 18 years old. Oh my goodness. She was so vulnerable at the time, but my dad's cousin recruited her. My dad and her divorced, and he hates anything to do with Primerica. But I lived with her at the time when this all happened. When I moved in with him, basically to get away from her and her narcissistic personality, I realized how I got scammed." Wow, we are just getting right into it, okay? Lots of heavy information here. First of all, I am so sorry about your sister. That must have been a very tragic thing that your family went through. And as it relates to MLMs, I'm very disheartened to see that it kind of maybe led to your mom getting involved with Primerica in one of her most vulnerable states. She's absolutely so brainwashed, and you can't tell her anything about being an MLM. She brought me to one of the business overviews on my 18th birthday and signed me up. I really felt like I didn't have a choice in the decision, but whatever. I hate to say that I fell for the dream that they were selling. They always talked about financial freedom, helping families, and financial literature. So at 18 years old, I got my life insurance license. I always look back and laugh because what 18-year-old does that? That is funny. Yeah, like what 18-year-old is like, I'm gonna be a life insurance salesman. Anyway, it was $199 to start and $25 a month to stay active to keep your website up. I also went to every smaller local event that usually had a ticket price of $20 to $30. I went to convention in Atlanta and a women's convention in Las Vegas. I've noticed all MLM companies go to the same places for conventions. Very interesting. Yes, Vegas and Atlanta specifically. Lots of conventions happening in those cities. If anybody has a hunch as to why that is, I would love to know. I'm always just quick to assume that it's like within the company's best financial interest, like maybe those are the cheapest venues, who knows. Anyway, in the 2 years I was in Primerica, I lost $2,000. I know that's really not too much money. That is a lot of money. What are you talking about? But as an 18-year-old, I could have done something totally different with my money and my time. We had to go to meetings every Tuesday night and on Saturday mornings, and if we didn't go to them, we would get talked to about how committed we were to this business. Like, leave me alone. I'm basically still a child and I don't want to wake up at 7 a.m. to go to a meeting to pay to get brainwashed. Yes, yes, paying to get brainwashed. That might be the most perfect definition I've seen of what being in an MLM is like. So I recruited some people, but they all left after a week or so because their parents were like, what the F is this pyramid scheme? And my mom would get furious. If someone said they didn't want to join or say something bad about the company, she would get visibly pissed off. When they would leave, she would go off talking about how they were idiots, don't know anything, and that's why they're broke and are never going to do anything with their life. So I'm sitting there like, dang, I better not quit because my mom will definitely go off on me. They always said the only way to fail is to quit. That really doesn't make any sense to me because when someone tells you no to a cold message, which they promoted heavily, or you don't close a sale trying to sell insurance, you basically are failing at the job. They really brainwash you into thinking you need the company to have a good life. Oh, 100%. That is a huge tactic. It's to make you feel like your life outside of this organization will never be as good as it is inside the organization. For whatever reason. That could be around money, around mindset, around community. They make you believe that this is the best it's gonna get, and you better not risk leaving, basically. My mom was so obsessed with becoming our VP, but after 13 years, she still isn't one. I believe in Primerica, RVP stands for Regional Vice President, and that is the top rank of the company. So after 13 years, she's still not at the top. It's honestly sad because I know it will never happen for her, but she manipulates everyone she meets to try to join her team. She manipulated my other older sister, my brother, and even me all at 18 years old. Finding MLM content truly saved me from being in a terrible industry and potentially ruining my life. I now don't trust my mother because how can I? She lied to me and led me down a dangerous path. I honestly have so much resentment. We don't talk much anymore because of it. All of my siblings feel the same way, but they were only in the company for maybe a month. Sometimes I feel bad about it because she's my mother, but at the same time, she knows what she's doing and she has no shame about it. She is ruthless in trying to be a business owner. She pushed away so many family members trying to recruit them, and then when I joined, she made me go to those same family members and try to get them involved. So now those family members look at me differently because of her. How embarrassing. Anyway, moral of the story is MLM companies will stop at nothing. They ruin families and brainwash innocent people to thinking they can live the dream, when in reality, it's all Yep, pretty much. Zeke wanted to join the party, I guess. So here I am 4 years later actually working my own small business. I make custom high quality press-on nails. That's awesome. I will attach some pictures below. I specialize in doing very detailed work and I absolutely fell in love with it. I would love to send you a free set of any design you want. That's so sweet. Oh my gosh. They last up to 14 days or you can wear them temporarily 1 to 2 days with nail glue tabs. My mom buys from me and says that I learned how to be a business owner from being in Primerica. Of course you did. Gotta attribute everything to the MLM, right? Makes me want to throw up. But she uses them and always compares my business to Color Street. That also makes me want to throw up. Please let me know what kind of set you would like, or you can go to my Instagram, nailsby.maggie, to see more of my work. Thank you so much for creating the content that you do. You are saving people. Maggie, let's scroll down to these pictures. Stop it right now. Look at these. I'm putting these pictures on the screen, okay? Nails by Maggie. That's nailsby.maggi. Wow. This is a talent I will never know and I will never have. These are unbelievable, Maggie. These are really, really beautiful. Everyone go follow Maggie. Go support her small business. If you have someone in your life who loves Color Street, direct them to Maggie. Wow, that's amazing. And kind of the whole theme of your story is another example of how MLMs ruin relationships. It's unbelievably common because being in an organization like this really does alienate you from other people, and it kind of crosses that unspoken boundary between family members videos of like, I'm deciding to embark on this one thing, I'm joining this MLM, but now I don't see you as just my cousin, my uncle, my sister. Now you are an opportunity for me. Now I see you with dollar signs in my eyes, and if you join this business opportunity or if you buy something from me, then I can make some money off of this relationship that we have. And as you kind of said in your story, it makes the family members feel weird. It makes them look at you differently, and just by virtue of you joining the same thing that your mom was involved in, it makes them look at you differently too. Something that I don't see very much is what you're explaining about your mom being in an MLM for 13 years. That's encroaching on like career MLMer. You don't see that very much because usually people will get a few years in. If they're not successful, they leave. But it seems like she's really sticking to it, regardless of what kind of money she's making or what that's doing to her personal relationships. And that's kind of crazy and kind of rare. But everyone go and check out Maggie's nail business. I will put her Instagram link in the description. That's a really cool ending to this story. It's cool to see that you kind of gone on your own little entrepreneurial path here without being in an MLM. How crazy is that? This story says, "Hey Hannah, I just stumbled across your channel these last few weeks and I love your videos. They're so great. I've got a story about Monate that isn't too crazy, but I thought it might be worth sharing. I saw a girl advertising her hair products, and at the time I didn't know what Monate was and was genuinely intrigued about what she was advertising. It was around Father's Day and I wanted to get my hubby something nice, and she was selling the men's beard care or whatever it is. I talked with her about it and I did my research and saw everything negative, so I politely declined. Good for you. Whenever you're thinking about buying any product ever, give it a quick Google, see what that company's about. This doesn't just apply to MLMs, okay? Because chances are, if there are negative reviews, you will find them pretty easily, and then you'll know to steer clear of that company. A few weeks later, I saw another girl selling stuff from Monate, and I thought maybe I could do this. I need the money, we lost our jobs, we lost our apartment thanks to COVID. So I had a call with her and we talked for maybe an hour. I told her my fears and that I had talked to someone else in the company and decided against it, and I was nervous to get started and try the products due to the lawsuits and negative reviews. This girl tells me, I can proudly say that we've won all 7 or whatever number lawsuits that have been filed against us, and I will stand with this company no matter what. And all I could think about was the fact that she's proud to work in a company that has had that many lawsuits to begin with. Weird flex, but okay. I just finished filming MLM Top Fails 42. I don't know what video is going to go up first, if it's going to be this one or that one, but regardless, we had a very lengthy conversation about how Monate has not won these lawsuits. I don't know where this is coming from. It must be coming from the top of the company somewhere, being like, oh, we just won the lawsuits, just go with it. It's not true. There are several lawsuits still open, still active right this moment that have not been resolved, and the ones that have been won were not won. They were settled, meaning Monate paid some money to sweep it under the rug, make it go away. Maybe they signed an agreement and agreed not to do some of the manipulative things in the future. But to make this claim that, quote, Monate has won every lawsuit, that is not true. I also told her that I liked her profile and how it wasn't just pictures of Monate stuff, and her posts seemed genuine, unlike the first girl I spoke with. She said, well, there's a reason you're on the phone with me right now and not her. Maybe it didn't mean much, but it seemed weird to me that she would speak poorly like that about her coworker. I thought it was all about working together and having a safe environment. Absolutely not. No, it's a competition, 100%. Once you're on the same team, it's easy to feel like, okay, yeah, everyone's working together because I need you to hit my goals. And like, if everyone's doing well, then we all benefit kind of thing. But especially if you're like on different teams or you're in the same area and you're within the same friend groups and the people you might be pitching to are the same, that's direct competition. And that's a huge issue with MLMs that makes no logical sense. If you were to open a McDonald's franchise, you would never put one across the street from another. Unless, of course, the demand for McDonald's in that neighborhood, in that community is like astronomically high and it can support 2 locations directly across the street from one another. That's usually not the case. There's usually like zoning where they're like, okay, we have a location here that serves this community and a location here that serves this community. And if you're going to open a franchise, you have to apply for it and you have to consider the zoning of it all. So why in an MLM is it okay for literally you and every single person on your block to be selling Monate? Isn't that bad for business? In a legitimate business, that would be a terrible idea. But in a business model like this one, where the emphasis really isn't on selling products and it's more about how many people can we get into this scheme, then it starts to make sense why someone would be okay with joining a business opportunity when they already know several people doing it too. Anyway, that was a tangent. Sorry about that. The point is, from the outside, it looks like a community. You're a team of boss babes. You all get along, you all work together. But when it really comes down to it, everyone's vying for certain recruits. And if you joined under the second girl, that first girl is not going to be happy because you were technically like her territory. So anyway, I did end up getting some products and they burned my scalp and made my hair fall out, just like the lawsuits that they won claimed. So naturally, I posted that on my Instagram story and told people what had happened and that these products weren't great and all that good stuff. Well, the first girl sees my post and messages me to say, "Hey babe, I'm not her babe. She bullied me in high school. It looks like you got the wrong products. I can help you out if you order from me." No, I didn't get the wrong products. The company just sucks. The silver lining though, the shampoo smelled really good and I did get my money back, so it wasn't a total loss. Anyways, it's all I've got. Love your content. So Monate's return policy is pretty annoying. Like there's all kinds of hoops that you have to jump through. You have to pay to send them back. It's interesting that you bring up the lawsuits because there are currently, at this very moment, still open lawsuits regarding hair loss from Monate products. And if you are returning your products to Monate, they're gonna give you a hard time about it when you're talking to customer service. But I have heard on multiple accounts that if you tell them, "Hey, this made my hair fall out," done. Allegedly, they will make it very, very easy to get your money back. All of a sudden, they're very accommodating. All of a sudden, it's no problem. We'll give you your money back. Just send them back. Don't talk about this. Do not talk about the fact that it made your hair fall out, okay? Because we're going to give you your money back, right? All of that information, of course, is alleged. I have not personally witnessed that firsthand, but it has been alleged to me on several occasions. And it grinds my gears that she was like, "Oh, you just didn't have the right products." And here's the thing about that is I do agree. I personally have very sensitive skin, a sensitive scalp. My hair tends to get very dry on the ends and very greasy in my roots. And not every product I have tried has been well suited for my hair. I'm sure that a lot of you watching can relate to that experience. Beauty products of any kind are not a one size fits all. And it could be true that, this product doesn't work as well as this one might for you. However, this does not apply when we are talking about burning your scalp and making your hair fall out. No product of any kind should be doing that. That doesn't mean you just have the wrong product. No, that's a formulation issue. That's on the company and that needs to be fixed. Not having the right product sounds like, "Oh, this was too hydrating, too heavy for the texture of my hair and it made my scalp really greasy." Okay, in that scenario, it would be acceptable to say, "You know what, that product probably doesn't suit your hair very well." This scenario of experiencing hair loss, that is not acceptable and the blame should not be placed on you for just not finding the right product. Here's an idea. How about the company just makes products that doesn't make people's hair fall out, period? What a huge mess. And I mean, if there is an upside here, it's that you did not get involved with the business opportunity and you didn't also get scammed and lose money too. And let this be a lesson to us all to do your research, okay? Search these companies, look at reviews, learn from the experiences of others. Hi, Zeke. And the story says, "Hi, Hannah. I'm not sure how horrific this story is, but I figured I'd tell it because I don't hear much about Mary Kay. I used to work in a lab and one day 2 Mary Kay ladies came in, although they didn't admit that at the time, to ask if we'd like to enter to win a free facial. Being naive, I gave one of them my information and then was shocked and awed when I got a text from them soon after. I was told I'd won a free facial for me and 10 of my friends. Well, I only had one friend, but she agreed to come with me to this lady's house and to do this free facial. She wound up selling me on the business, the pink Cadillac dream. Anyway, I got my kit, but I was living in a city where I knew no one and leads were hard to come by. I was told to either go out and warm chat people, aka literally go to a store and talk to the customers, or worse, the employees. I was encouraged to leave my business card and even a sample with anyone I came into contact with. Cashiers, waitresses, people waiting in line behind me. Everyone. I did some of it, but most of the time I felt too awkward to do that. My social anxiety is like bubbling up right now. Mary Kay is one of those companies that's very much not social media based. It's very much in-person person based, and this idea of like having to be working my Mary Kay business when I'm trying to do my grocery shopping, when I'm running errands, when I'm getting gas, when I'm at a restaurant, like the constant pressure is always around you to be selling, to be promoting, to be talking to people. That's not my personality personally, and so that sounds like a complete nightmare. And it sounds like that might be the case for you too, because you said you feel very awkward about that, and I would as well. The other option I was given to generate leads was by leaving facial boxes in places like nail salons. So I put together about 15 of these boxes and brought the expensive sign-up pads from Mary Kay and dropped them off in nail salons all over the city. I rotated them once a week for months, and I think it generated less than 10 leads, and maybe 1 or 2 of them actually answered me when I texted them. If all this isn't bad enough, they talked me into buying inventory. How can you sell what you don't have? How could you say I'm taking my business seriously when I won't invest in inventory to make my customers happy? I was assured that I would sell much more with stock on hand than I ever would through a catalog. So I talked my dad and his wife into lending me $3,000 to invest into my Mary Kay business. $3,000. Here's my question. Was that considered like a normal amount in the Mary Kay world? That is a lot of money in my opinion, but did you feel that that was normal? Was it kind of advised that like several $1,000s was an average amount of money to be spending on inventory? When I got that money, my upline suggested I spend half of it in the first month and half of it in the second month. Now, if inventory was just about stocking your shelves to make customers happy, shouldn't I buy everything I could as soon as I could? Anyway, I did exactly 1 party after that, and I sold maybe $200 worth of product. It was so frustrating because everyone I spoke to who was actually interested in spending that much money on makeup and skincare either already had a Mary Kay rep because the market is so saturated, or knew that the product was crap and they could get the same or better at the drugstore for half the price. Thankfully, the story doesn't have an awful ending. I wound up canceling my Mary Kay contract and taking advantage of their product buyback program, which is 90% of what you paid for the product. I think I wound up getting back like $1,900 maybe. I don't know, but it took me years to pay off my dad and always left a bad taste in my mouth. Also, while I was in Mary Kay, I was talked into going to this all-day retreat where important women in our upline or neighboring uplines taught us all about how to run our businesses successfully. Barf. That was a couple $100s. Yeah, paying to attend trainings, paying to attend conferences is a huge scam in itself. Because number one, odds are that they're not going to tell you anything there that you can't find yourself on the internet. And number two, if you were working a legitimate job and they truly were offering like professional development and professional knowledge that directly translates into your job duties, in a traditional job setting, you would get paid to go to that training. You would not pay to be there. Professional development is a huge thing in a lot of professions. And it's not uncommon to go to a conference or to go to a convention or something like that where you're learning all these new skills, but that is on the company's watch and on the company's dime. That's considered a part of your job. You get paid and compensated for the time spent doing your job. And it's always perplexed me how MLMs will make you pay to come and listen to the information. And it's crazy because people will. They'll think, oh, there's going to be this important speaker. They're going to be covering these important topics. If I'm going to be successful, I have to be there. There's all kinds of pressure from your upline. It's a huge scam. You spend all of this money, and odds are, most of the time, the information presented at these conferences or these trainings is not worth the money that you spent. Then I also got roped into going to their local career conference. Those are held all over the country, and the local representatives are expected to be there. Since I didn't have anyone signed up under me, I was considered a newbie, and I had to sit through a basic training video for over an hour with hundreds of other women. What a nightmare. It was such a waste of my time. And it was a 2-day event. The rest of the time, they were singing the praises of one another or making us all stand up and dance to Pharrell's Happy. I still can't listen to that song and not think about Mary Kay. Another couple $100s down the drain. They also wanted me to go to their big annual conference in Texas, but that was where I thankfully drew the line. I'm grateful for people like you who are educating the masses. Even after getting out of Mary Kay and realizing that we were being praised for what we bought from the company and not what we sold for the company, I didn't realize how wrong the business model is. Now that I do, I can do a better job of steering clear of them. Thanks again and keep up the good work. That makes me so happy. Thank you for saying that. that. The purpose of these videos is always education. It's to spread awareness so that whoever clicks on this video can be informed, and so that they can go out into the real world and protect themselves against these scams if they do come in contact with them. Thank you for sending in this story and for sharing your experience. I think that it's really gonna help a lot of people. And with that, that's all of the stories that I have for you for this video. Thank you to everyone who sent in their story. And if you do have your own, the instructions for how to send that to me are in the description box. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you, and I will see you in my next one real soon.